HIV, as I see it, it's not really about HIV itself. It's really about social injustice. It's really about socioeconomic disparities. It's really about disparities in resource allocation. And HIV provides an opportunity for us to examine all these different systems and look at them to say, how can we do better? I'm Naina Khanna. I'm Executive Director of Positive Women's Network USA. We are a national membership body of women and folks of trans experience living with HIV. I was diagnosed in 2002. I had actually been diagnosed outside the US, and I didn't want my diagnosis on record in the US because I didn't have health insurance linked to my employment. And so I was worried about pre-existing condition exclusions. So I actually didn't get into care for about 2 years. I had internalized a lot of stigma about HIV, which is a big piece of why I wasn't telling anyone. HIV stigma was never really just about HIV. It was always, interwoven with homophobia and stigma against substance use and stigma against people who are poor and marginally housed and living on the street, and racism. When I got connected with organizations that were really committed to seeing people with HIV as whole and understanding our wellness as something beyond just medication, that's when I really started to be able to deal with my HIV status. Understanding that my personal experience was not that unique led to the formation of Positive Women's Network USA and really has driven my work. Women with HIV have about 5 times the rate of child sexual abuse history than the general population of women, about 2 to 3 times the rate of intimate partner violence history. About a third of women with HIV in this country are currently living with post-traumatic stress disorder. That should be appalling to all of us. I don't think it's any coincidence that it took 30-ish years into the epidemic before we were able to organize a national network led by women with HIV here in the US. Things that only impact women were not even included in the basic definition of AIDS in the early days of the epidemic, and women had to fight for those CDC definitions to change in order to be counted. I'm constantly just amazed at the wisdom that is in the community, how committed women with HIV are to transforming the world, not just for themselves and for their families, which they care about and which are kind of at the center of their advocacy, but the entire community. The hope I find comes from understanding that folks have a clear vision about what's right and wrong, and people are stepping up to lead in ways that we never even dreamed were possible. Sometimes things are messy and complicated and difficult, and we don't see the light or we don't see the way out perfectly, but what's important is to stay connected to our truth. I think we have to build in time as individuals and as institutions for reflection, for visioning, for creativity. The idea of a cure is really exciting. So folks having choices about what they share about their health, having choices about what type of sex they have, having choices about how they choose to create families. A cure opens up a lot of possibilities for people living with HIV that are fundamentally about expanding our human rights and dignity. The truth is, treatment is available, but we haven't been able to get it to everybody living with HIV. There's a lot of healthy skepticism about what a cure would actually mean for the communities most impacted by the epidemic. If we don't prioritize making the cure available to everyone, if that's not our mandate, we haven't done our job.